So this is just a continuation of previous session that we actually had, right? Like I have promised, I'm going to explain the entries in detail of the trades that we once took, the trades that we actually took today, right? The trades that we actually took today in our signals group. Let me just check it. All right, right. So we had Euro AUD, we had USD CAD, then we had AUDCAD that we also want to explain, right? I think I'll just explain these three, time permitting, right? AUDCAD, right? Let me just start maybe with the AUDCAD, then move to the other ones because it's the one that is right at the top, right? I won't explain the ones that my partner actually sent the signals, just explains the ones that I sent specifically with this type of a setup, right? Okay, so this is the old card. This is where it's floating. This is where it is now, right? This is the setup and the entry. So I'm just going to explain it right from here, right? What I looked at and what made me to jump into the what? Into the trade, right? So let's get to old card and let's explain it so that you guys also learn, right? Okay, so this is what we had, right? So usually when I'm trading, there are certain highs that I mark in the forex market. This is supposed to be on H1, right? I usually trade this from 1 hour time frame. There are certain highs that I always mark. Like in this case, the trend is actually moving to the downside, right? And you can actually tell that is creating some waves like these. Then it created a new low, then it came and bounced. This is the highest point, but you can actually put it here, then it went like this, right? So it means for me this is actually a significant high. If you go to M15, you'll see it will be very, very clear, right? So this is a significant high that the market actually created. That's why I actually marked that high, right? And you can see price is bouncing there. So there is too much liquidity. There is money that is actually sitting above those highs, right? So on seeing that liquidity that we have there, let me just put maybe a dollar sign there. You just put maybe a dollar sign there, right, to symbolize liquidity, right? Okay, so there is liquidity. These are buy stops liquidity. So this liquidity has to be taken, right? So let's wait patiently as the chart plays out and we see how they took that liquidity, right? There's some that I want to explain, right? So this is what I want. This is what I want to see on this setup. Where they move above this high, let me actually increase the size because this is where the trick is. They move above this high with a single candlestick. The next candlestick should be coming back into the zone like this one. One moves above either that very candlestick or the next one. In this case, the next one comes back into the zone. So the moment they start coming back into the zone, they have taken this liquidity. This money is taken. So the idea is they are done with buy stops liquidity. They now want this sell stops liquidity. They are now being attracted to the downside only. They are now continuing with the trend that is there, right? So from there, this is where we move to our lower time frames like M5, right? You can choose to use M5, M15, M1, right? Then what we do here is we look for a low, right? That is here. That never tapped this zone, the line of liquidity that we had, right? A low that created a high that never tapped this. In this case, this is the low. This is a low, right? Let me explain what I mean here, right? So this low created this high, and this high never tapped the liquidity line, right? Where our liquidity was then grabbed, right? The highest point, the previous highest point, right? You can see they went on to create a low, then they even created this one and did this, and they went, right? So the break of structure that we want, the church that we want, right, we won't take it from here because this one was already testing liquidity. They were already taking some liquidity here on the lower time frames. So on the lower times, we want a low that never tapped that line, right, where our liquidity is sitting behind the previous highest point, right? This line is actually showing us this. Let me, right? So this high, this low, this line right? Remember, it's showing us this previous high that we had marked, right? So the low should not tap that, right? Hope that's understood. Hope that's clear to everyone, right? Hope that is clear. It's simple, right? So after seeing our market breaking this low now, right? Now we focus on this move, right? We focus on this move as usual, this downward move, even from here, right? And as we're focusing on this move, we want to see where our imbalances are, right? Like in this case, this is imbalance. The market is not balanced from this point to this point, and they have been feeling this imbalance. So now it's up to this point, the market is not balanced, right? So this imbalance has to be closed. So it has to be closed to this order block, right? So it means our risk zone or entry zone becomes that what? That order block, and we stretch it all the way to the what? To the right. Then on this one, it depends with you. It depends with what you want. You can actually be using the M15 time frame, right? Let's see how the M15 is actually looking like, right? On the M15 time frame, you realize that the order block is ending here. Our imbalance is ending here, right? So you could use this, right? So the M5 one, you can choose it if our risk is too big, right? Let's see our risk. Usually our risk should be within the range of about 30 pips. In this case, it's just 8 pips, right? So it's too little, right? It's too little to be afraid of, right? 8 pips. You can even stretch it a little bit higher to something like 15 pips, something like 15 pips. Let me do that, right? Like 15 pips. That's what we did, right? Then we can leave it there, right? You can use the M5, but the problem with the M5, you might actually miss the trade, right? So in this case, I use the M15 one, right? But still, you can use it, right? But because our risk range is very, very small, it's better to actually use the M15 than that one, right? Then you do your projection like this. After your projection, you are just waiting for a price to come and tap. You can put your limit orders there, put a stop loss there, and you chill, right? You can even come back to your H1 and wait to see your price playing out or doing what you want there, right? Then your target on these trades, remember what I said, your risk reward ratio should always be 2, nothing less than 2 on a risk reward ratio, right? Whereby if you're risking $1, you make a profit of $2 plus, right? So somewhere 2 is somewhere there, you can actually target these lows, right? Then you can even look to your history, right? Like in this case, I think I look to H4. Is it the daily time frame where I picked a low, right? I actually expect my price to actually come to these lows because it's actually a swing trade, this one, to come to these lows, still in this trade, and I'll be holding, right? So it's more like this. I was actually looking at these lows, right? That's the trade. Then we can go back to our H1. Then we just allow our trade to what? To play out, right? So we want to see how our price actually played out from, oh, I was making a mistake. Let me go to M15. On M15, right? So our trade was not yet tapped. They hadn't actually tapped the zone as of yet from the time I drew this. So now let me just play it and we see the price movements. So the price movement is still playing games. You just be patient and wait until they tap into the trade, creating some liquidity and stuff. Wait until they actually tap. Yeah, now we're in the trade. So this is where they tapped us into the trade, right? Actually, that's where my end was actually sitting at. If you look at that screenshot that I showed you before, right? Let me just make this a little bit fast so that we just finish on this, because the process that we wanted to show you, and you have to be patient, right? Since you have a stop loss there, just be patient and let your trade actually run, right? Just be patient with your fixed stop loss and your targets there, and you just chill. Okay, so this is where it ended. So this is where the price is actually at currently, right? So this is how our trade actually played out on AUDCAD, right? And I'll move to the next trade. Hope everything is clear there. If you have a question, just drop it in the comment section and I'll attend almost all your questions, right? So thank you. Let's get to the other trade, and I explain how I go to take that trade. So this is Euro AUD, right? So on Euro AUD, I had a trade. Let me just show you first from my other trading view. This is Euro AUD. This is Euro AUD, right? This is the trade that we actually took, right? So these are the steps all the way from H1, right? Let me go to Euro AUD. Yeah, right. So on Euro AUD, this is what I had, right? Setup, I actually started it from H4. If my memory serves me well, right? So this is what I was seeing, right? We had a high that we had here. Then price came with this candlestick. It moved up, and the next candlestick is coming back into the zone. So I know that this is money, this is liquidity that is being taken from this side, right? So the moment that I tell that this is liquidity that is being taken there, right? I now look at the low before they took the liquidity. Then I realize that this is the low that we have on that high time frame. So they take the liquidity, then they come back. Then they came down. They broke this low. So what's left is for them to come back and join me into the trade, right? So my entry for this trade, it was actually sitting. This was today during the Asian session. So I wasn't actually trading. I actually started trading during the London and the New York session, right? So I only woke up around this time, around 9, right? That's when I started my analysis. So this, I was asleep. There's no way I was going to enter here, right? So I was forced to adjust my entry zone to, let me just do this. Sorry for that. This one, it happened that I didn't actually do the test, but at least we are seeing the setup, right, where we are coming from. Okay, so my end, because of the time that I woke up, I was forced to actually put it somewhere there. Then my risk somewhere above. My risk, usually those who trade with me, they usually know that it's something like 30 pips many times, right? And our targets lower there, right? Actually lower than this from the H4 time frame where we started this analysis. Okay, let me just do this. All right. I didn't get to explain this in the way that I did on, yeah, they have to close these imbalances, so they should come to these lows, right? This is where I intend to take my targets. The setup is very, very simple, right? Liquidity, they should just take liquidity. The moment they take liquidity to right, you're waiting for them to break the previous move, right? Actually, on this one, we can actually fine tune it to this low, right? Let me go to H1 and show you, right? The moment they actually broke this one, no, this one came, so it was actually this one, sorry, right? So the moment they come to break this one, then I know the moment they're coming to those highs again, then that's mine, right? That's how I got this trade. Nothing complicated, right? So all I'm looking for are institutional candles that take liquidity. The moment I see that I have a setup, I'm ready to shoot, right? So let me go to the other signal that I had here, right? What was that? Let me just confirm here, right? That was USD CAD, right? USD CAD. Okay, the signal again. All right, let me just go to this one, then we explain it. USD CAD. This one. This was the USD CAD, right? So USD CAD again. It was very, very simple. Let me remove this. Early in the morning, yesterday. Was it yesterday? I saw this setup. I'm forgetting, but this is what we had, right? So I was seeing there was this high, right? Remember the nature. Let me on this one, let me actually do the replay, right? You're seeing that you have a high like this, price is consolidating and it's doing this, right? What is it that you see above this high? What we see above this high is nothing but what? But liquidity. That's all we see. I've taught my eye to see liquidity. I'm always looking for liquidity. If you don't see the liquidity, you become the liquidity. So I'm always eyeing for liquidity zones, right? Whenever I see liquidity, I'm interested, right? I know there's money coming there, right? So this was the liquidity, and price started playing like this, right? It went above and it took that liquidity, right? The moment they take this liquidity, the next thing is I want a low on lower time frames, like I can go to M15, right? I want a low that never touched my line of liquidity, right, to use as my break. So in this case, it was this one, right? This low. They almost touched it, they almost tapped it, right? But they didn't, right? So it's valid. If you're afraid, then you can use this one. But for me, it didn't, right? They didn't go above this liquidity, so it wasn't taken there, right? So I can take this one. Hope that condition is understood as well, right there. So any move now that will come back, right, to close my imbalances. If you look at my imbalances, there is some imbalance there, right? If you didn't understand imbalance, go to the previous videos and you understand imbalance. So there is some imbalance that hasn't been closed, and it has to be closed right here. This imbalance, right? Then after this imbalance, right, above this is all my end rod, my end zone. I can stretch it to the right. Let me just put a grayish color there, right? This is all my end zone, right? So from here I can actually map my short trade, that if my price comes to this zone, I can take this is just 7 pips. Guys, it's too little, right? Let's just put it to 15 pips. Let's just extend it to something like 15 pips, 14, 15 pips, something like that. Then we do this, right? Then you wait patiently for your price to come to that zone. They mitigate you. Then we get to what? We get to trade. Okay, so let's see how they actually. Okay, so they're back to the zone, right? Even if you take edges, just leave a pending order there, the proper stop loss, right? If you don't know pending orders, then you should come and learn forex trading. Okay, let me put it on 3 till they come to mitigate, right? There's another concept that I'll teach you. Usually, as price is approaching some POIs, there's something that happens, right? So here the trade was actually mitigated, right? Here the trade was mitigated, right? We just wait and see what they did, right? From there, right? So they started moving down like that, right? And they went down, they went down like this, right? So currently this is where we are. If you relate it to the setup that I actually showed you and the parameters that I showed you, it's just the same, because it's the same what? It's the same trade, right? So this is how I took this trade. If you look at these prices, you can actually see the very same prices on this one. That was USD CAD here. I sold it 1.36444, right? 1.3644, right? Let's look at it. 1.3640. I was at 44, right? Something like here. I was a little bit lower than this, right there. That's where my end was, right? So when I was doing this, it's slightly higher, but well, that's the end, right? So from my trading view, this is the USD what? This is the USD CAD trade, right? Just the same way, the same manner, right? So this is the setup that I wanted to show you guys. I believe you've learned. I believe you grab something, you apply it in your trading, and you share your profits with me. You'll be sharing with me some screenshots that we have, right? So if you want to learn more of us, just contact me. For my contact details, most preferably come through WhatsApp or Instagram page Sniper X, right? But I prefer you come through my contacts that you find anyway within this channel, right? You can learn with us. You can also get some signals with us, right? Mentorship and signals, we have both on currencies, right? So thank you guys for the time. Thank you for always following this channel, right? Love you guys.